Hello guys, welcome back to Coding Cafe. My name is Mohammed Ali, and in this tutorial, first of all, what we are going to do is basically to retrieve and display the messages, and also we will retrieve the chat list here on our chats fragment. So let's just start working on it. So first of all, in order to retrieve the messages, we need to create a beautiful layout, or you can say user interface, in order to display the messages. So here in our layout, right click on the layout, then new layout resource file, and the name of this will be message item left, and make sure to change this to relative layout, and then click OK. And let's just quickly go to the XML, and here what we need to do is basically the width will be 295 dp and the height will be wrap content. Now inside this we need to add a circle image view, which will be obviously 40 dp, and let's give ID to this as profile underscore image, and let's add a source to it, which is by the name profile. After this we need to add a text view in order to display the message. So it will be wrap content ID for this will be text message, or we can say show underscore text underscore message to right of profile image and margin left 6 dp. Let's add a text for testing purposes. The text size will be 18 sp, padding will be 8 dp, and background will be background left. This is the thing that we got, and now let's just give some padding from all the sides. So padding from all the sides will be 9 dp, just like this. Now we need to create another one which will be for the right chat, okay, and here, so right click on layout, new, and then layout resource file, and let's give it name as message underscore right underscore message item right. And one more thing which is we need to do here, this is just for the up to the text, I mean this is for the text images UI. Now what if a user send an image? So for that we have to use image view. So down here we can add an image view quickly, which will be 100 dp and 100 dp. ID for this will be left underscore image underscore view, left image view to right of ID profile image, and we have to give it some margin left, which will be 6 dp, and by default the visibility for this will be gone. So this is our image view in order for displaying the image. And one more thing is to add a text view in order to display the status of a message, that is sent, seen. So let's quickly do that also. Text view, wrap content, and the ID for this will be text underscore scene, and let's add some text here, and this must below the show text message, edit text. Let's just see how it looks. Here you can see it. So yeah, now for the message item right, let's just copy this whole XML code from here and then come here to the message item right and just replace it with it. Okay, and now we have to do changes here. So 295 dp and 9 dp padding. And for this one, now this item, message item right, is basically for the sender, that is the online user. So it will be match parent, just like this. And let's give some margin from all sides. Let's say 4 5 dp will be good. And now the next thing is we have this image view. Now what I'm going to do is just cut this whole code, up to this text view, okay, from this circle image view to the text view. And now inside our this relative layout, just we need to add another relative layout which will be 300 dp, and the height will be wrap content, and align parent and to true, align parent right to true. So yeah, that's it. Now inside this relative layout, paste that whole code which we cut earlier, just like this. Okay, and now we have to do some changes here. So, and by the way, change this width to 295 dp. But if we keep the width like this, then it will move to the left side. Okay, so let's just do it. Width will be match parent, and so make sure to keep this with match parent and height wrap content. Okay, and now let's just move one by one this to the right side. Over this circle. By the way, we do not need to display here a circle in each view. And the next thing is it will be wrap content to right, and remove this to right off. Also remove this margin left, and instead of it we can just say align parent end to true. So it will move just like this. Here you can see on the screen. And instead of background left, we have another layout, another user interface for the right chat, which is background right. Here you can see it. Now the next thing we need to do is to change the text color. So the text color will be Android white, just like this. And now the next thing is also, let's just make sure that it is to the right also true. Okay, and the next thing is this thing, which is with height to right of margin left. Remove these two and just right. Let's just copy these two and paste that here, just like this. By the way, it is not going there. Okay, this is image view. Sorry, I'm really sorry for this. The visibility for which is already gone, so we have to make it visible just to set the layout. So here you can see it. This is our image view for displaying the images, and we have to give it proper ID. So it is our right image view, and now you can just make it invisible. Now the same thing is copy these two and come down here, and here we can say that paste it, and it will move here. So yeah, that's it. Now the next thing is basically we need to create a model class in order to retrieve, we have to set a getter and setter in order to retrieve the messages, and which we will create by the same child that we are storing it, by using which we are storing the message data inside the database. If I show you in short, then you will understand it more easily, which is our message chat activity by these names: sender, message, receiver is seen, URL, message ID. So in order to do that, what we are going to do is let's just close the items. And now, and one thing is Let me just check it. Yeah, everything is okay. Same is here. So yeah, let's just close these, and now we are going to create a model class. So on our model class, right click, new, Kotlin file, class, and the name of this model class will be chat. Press enter, and it has been created. Now let's just quickly create child by the same same keys, by this keys, as you know that we have stored our data inside the database, so we must use these same things. Okay, so we can say private for sender, and it is of type string, and let's just initialize with null, and we can copy paste it 1 2 3 4 5 times. So the second one is basically our message. Then we have receiver. Then we have is seen. And then is seen is, by the way, a boolean type. Okay. So for the boolean we can say that private variable is seen, remove the string from here and initialize this by default with a false. And after is seen we have URL, and then we have message ID. So these are the childs that we need here. And now we can close the message add activity. Now after this we need to add a constructor, a default constructor, which means with no parameters. So click OK only. This is a constructor with no parameters, and then a constructor with parameters. Select all of these, then press OK. This is our constructor with parameters. Now we have to set the getter, set the getter and setter. So for that, what we're gonna do is fun get send, which is of type string, and it will return the sender. Now let set the sender. So you can say fun set sender string, and we can say this dot sender equals to sender, and make sure to add the non-asserted call here. Now let's just copy paste these for the remaining four variables, which are message receiver, is in URL, message ID. So copy it, 1 2 3 4 and 5. Now let's just change this one by one. So the other one we have is the message, so let's just do this. So after this we can say get message, and make sure to change the variable names, do exactly just like I am doing here in front of you. Okay, and then we can set the message and send, instead of sender we have message string, and this dot message equals to message, and after the message we have receiver. So copy it, and then we have the receiver, get receiver, it will return the receiver, and then set receiver, it will return the receiver, and then we can just change this receiver string, receiver receiver, and then after receiver we have is seen. So get, now in order to set this, and we can just give it name as is seen, is seen, and as you know that it is of type boolean, and it will return the is seen, sorry. And For the set we can say set is seen boolean. This dot is seen equals to, sorry, is seen, sorry, it is type boolean, so make sure to change this to boolean. So fun is seen boolean, return is seen, set is seen boolean. This dot is seen equals to is seen. So after this we have URL and then message ID. So let's just quickly do this. We have get URL and make sure to change this to URL. This one also to URL, and then set URL. URL, and then the last one finally is our message ID. So we can say get message ID and make sure to change this message ID, and set message ID. So yeah, that's it. Now the next thing that we need is basically to create a model class basically that we will need in order to retrieve the chat list on our chats fragment, and which has only one child, the ID, okay, for both the sender and receiver. So in order to do that we will need a model class. So let's create it, new Kotlin file class, and let's give it name as chat list, and the variable, I mean the key name here is ID. Okay, make sure to use the same spellings. So we can just say that private variable ID, and it is of type string obviously, and let's initialize this with a null. Now next thing we need is basically a constructor with no parameter. Then we need a constructor with all parameters, and then finally we need to set getter and setter for ID. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this get and setter from here, just copy this for the time saving, and come back to the chat list and we will modify it for our ID variable. So in order to get this we can say get ID, and it will return ID, and then we can say set ID ID. So this dot ID equals to ID. That's it. Now let's create an adapter for our chats. So right click on adapter classes, new Kotlin class, and let's give it name as chat adapter, chats adapter. And now it will receive some parameters that we will send to our this chat adapter class from our chats fragment and from our message activity. Okay, when we'll be retrieving the messages on the message chat activity, and when we will be displaying the chat list on our chats fragment. So anyways, let's just quickly add the parameters here. So the first parameter it have will be the context that we will send to it, which will be the name by the name mcontext, and type will be context. The second parameter it's need an array list, which will be by the name mchat list, so we type list, pass the chat model to it, model class to it, and then the other one is basically the image URL, which will be of type string, and then here we can set recycler view dot adapter. And now here basically we need to create quickly our inner class in which we will access our layouts for the chats, which namely includes our message item left and message item right. So for that, let's just quickly say that inner class, and we can give it name as view holder item view, and it will be of type view. Recycler view dot view holder, and here we have to pass the item view. So one by one we need to access our things from here. So first of all, we have profile image, so let's just come back and then we can say variable profile image, which will be of type circle image view, and let's just initialize this with a null. Then the next thing we have is basically our short text message, which is type text view. So we can say variable text view, and then we have our left image view. So variable left image view, which is of type image view, initialize this with a null, and then let's just copy paste this quickly. We have other one, which is text scene. Change this with it, and it is of type text view. And the same things we have on our message item right, okay, which have the same IDs, short text message, and then we have only one thing is different, which is right image view, okay, and the ID for our text view, which is we are using it for the seen and delivered, delivered or sent message is basically this one, which is text scene. Okay, so do not change the IDs. Okay, we will use the same IDs, which is text scene, by the way. Okay, now the next thing is only one thing is, which is right image view. So let's just copy this, and then here we can say that variable image view, and let's initialize this quickly with a null. And once we have this, then we can initialize this init. So inside init we can say, first of all, we have profile image and the ID for this is same, so we can just quickly say item view dot find view by ID or dot ID dot profile image. Make sure to import this R, and now let's quickly copy paste this, and then you can just quickly change the IDs. Okay, sorry, make sure to change the ID here also. We have left image view, so left image view the ID is same with left image view. Then we have text scene ID is text scene. Right image view ID is same, which is right image view. So now here we can say that chats adapter dot view holder. Now next thing is, you can just right click on here, it will display this red bulb implement members. And by the way, you can also just type these manually, that is on create view holder get item count on bind view holder. If I show you, I mean just like this, that is on bind view holder. Okay, then we have on create view holder, and then we have get item count. That's it. Okay, so yeah, let's move these to above. Okay, and then we can implement it one by one. So this get item count will basically return the array list size, which is m chat list. Sorry, we have to initialize, write it here, which is private well contacts type context. Then we have mchat list, which is of type list chat, and then we have private val image URL, and let's just initialize a Firebase user here. Variable Firebase user, which will be of type Firebase user. Initialize it with a null, and also you can just initialize this with null, and then for this we can say, now here we can say, okay, do not initialize it here, remove this. Okay, so Firebase user with a null, and then we can say init, and in here we can just say that this dot mChatList equals to mChatList, this dot mContext equals to mContext, and then we can say this dot image URL equals to image URL. And now the next thing we need to do is to return our mChat list dot size, and the other is basically this one, which is on create view holder. So since you know that we will be using these two layouts, which is message item left and message item right. So here in our on create view holder, what we are going to do is, here we can say that return if, let's change, this is our integer type. Okay, so let's change the value of it to position. Okay, so we can say that return if position becomes equals to 1, and let me tell you, on position 1 we have message item left, and on position 0 we have message item right. I mean, we will work like that. Okay, so we can say that, just come here to the user adapter, and just for the time saving I'm going to copy this and change it according to our need on our chats adapter. So just paste that here, and then we can say, well, view equals to layout inflator from mContext.inflat r.layout. And our item is, in this case, is, now here you can see, if you see this kind of problem, like when you say that r.layout. And you know that inside the layout we have this message item left and message item right, but here you can see it is not appearing here in the suggestions, which means it will give us error. So what you need to do is, before this r, all we're gonna need is just to type our this package name, which is com.example dot our app name, which is this one, and yeah, up to here. Okay, so just copy this, we need to provide this package name and our problem will be solved. So you need to just paste that here, com.example dot messenger app dot r dot layout dot, if you write dot, then now you will see all the items inside the layout, which is, by the way, in our case, message item right, or the indexed one, and then we have view group by the name parent, so we can pass this parent here, and then we can return the return user adapter, sorry, it is chats adapter dot view holder. We are using a combined return statement here, so there is no need to add this again. So we can say view holder view. So if position is 1, then this, otherwise what we want to do is, to the 0th index we will have another one, which is our message item left. Okay, so just copy this, paste that here, and instead of message item right we can say message item left. So yeah, that's it. And one more thing is, come down here, and when we say on bind in below this, in order to get the item view type, we can say get item view type Firebase user equals to Firebase auth dot get instance dot current user. So here we can use combined return statement. We can say return if chat list position, and this position represents this one, okay, integer position, which represents basically the position of our view, that is whether it is the message item left or message item right. And as you know that one index is the position of right and zeroth is the position of message item left. So mchatlist position dot get send dot equals firebase user dot uid. So it will return in case if the it is equals to the Firebase user ID. If the sender ID is equals to the Firebase user ID, then it means that this is an online user, and in that case we will display our this layout. Okay, just like you guys see in WhatsApp. Okay, this one layout we will use in that case. If the sender ID, I mean the message sender ID and the Firebase user ID is same. Okay, that's why we say dot equals. So we will return 1, which means our message item right layout. Otherwise we will return the other one, which is 0. It means that in case of 0, it means that this is not the sender is not equals to the Firebase user, which is obviously means that this is the receiver. So in that case we will display this layout, which is the right one, okay, along with a circle image view where we will display the receiver profile picture. So anyway, that's it. Now next thing is to display the messages. So we can, inside our own bind view holder, we can display it in several chat equals to mchat list position represents this integer type. So for the right side we can say that, as you know that this right item, I mean this layout belongs to the sender of a message. Okay, so we have to add a condition here. If chat dot get sender dot equals to firebase user dot uid, if this equals to this, then it simply means that this is the sender. So we have to display the message by using this holder object. So we can say holder dot show text message. First we have to make sure the visibility for this, so we can say visibility. Now before we proceed, one thing is we need here to differentiate between the text messages and the file images, that is the picture images. Text messages and the images messages, we have to differentiate between that. Now before we proceed, let's just write a comment here, which will be image message the right side, which means right side basically means the sender. Okay, hope you understand this now. And the other one is, so we can make this show text message in case of the image, we will make this invisible. So we can say visibility view dot gone. Make sure we add this non-inverted call here. And the next thing is we have to visible our right image here. So holder dot right image view dot visibility, and it will be visible. And in order to get the image, we can say Picasso dot get dot load, and load the chat dot get URL dot into holder dot right image view. And let's add the other condition, which will be our else if. So else if, what it will be, it will be image message left side, which means on the receiver side. So if chat sender is not equals to the firebase user dot uid, then in that case what we want to do is, let's just copy paste this, and we will change it according to the receiver, I mean to the left, for the left side. So holder dot show message, it will be gone, and then image view left image view dot visibility view dot visible Picasso chat dot get URL left image view. That's it. Now we have not yet moved toward the text messages. So we need to differentiate between the text and image messages as a whole. So in order to differentiate between these, as you know that we will need to add a condition. And since you remember that we inside the database, if I show you when we send an image, then basically here you can see URL, we add this condition which is send you an image. That's why I told you to use the same sentence, okay? And in case of text messages, it is obviously the text hello, it will be how are you or whatever it is. Or in case of text messages, the URL is empty. Here you can see it. Now what we are going to do here is we will use this thing, this sentence, okay, in order to differentiate between the text messages and images messages as a whole. So in order to do that, what we are going to do is here at the top, I'm going to add a condition which will check that if chat dot get message dot equals to, and we are going to exactly copy this thing, which is in case of message, I mean image message, we send basically, which is sent you an image. So we will use the same thing in a condition, okay? So you can say send you an image. So if get message is equals to send you an image, it means that this is basically an image file, I mean image message. And one more condition which we will do is basically this thing, which is the URL must not be empty, because in the image message the URL is not empty, okay? So if the URL is not empty, so we can say chat dot get URL dot equals to null. It must not be null, so we can add exclamation mark here. So if the chat dot get message is equals to this, okay, which means like this one, and if the URL is not empty, if the URL is not empty, then it simply means that it is basically an image message. So in case of image message, we have to display these two things. So cut this and paste that here, okay? It will be either on the right side, which means for the sender, and it will be either on the left side, which means for the receiver side, okay? And now the next thing is, here you can see it. Now if you want, for your understanding, you can add a comment here, which will be images messages, images messages, and else we will have the text messages. So if you want, you can add a comment here, which is text messages. So image messages and text messages. Now in case of text messages, we can just say that, let's just copy this thing from here, which is our text message. So holder dot show text message dot visibility will be visible. We have to make sure that this is visible. But even though, I mean, as you know that all these are visible by default, only our images are by default it is invisible. If I show you basically our image views, this one, and same is here. So there is no need, I mean, to add this sentence here. Okay, it will be already visible in case if it is a text message. By default is it is already visible. So anyways, show text messages dot text chat dot get message. So yeah, this is all about our retrieving and displaying the messages. Now the next thing what we need to do is to display a profile picture on the for the receiver side, that is this one, okay? So in order to do that, come here, and here we can say Picasso dot get dot load, and in order to get the image we can say chat dot get, and we will send this URL to our this chats adapter. Here you can see we will save this as a parameter to our this chat adapter class. So what we are going to do is we can just say that image URL dot into holder dot profile image. So now we can easily just call our this chat adapter class on our message activity on our, and also on our chats fragment in order to on the message chat activity, we want to display the messages, so we have to pass only three parameters to this chat adapter from the message chat activity, which is the context, the array list, I mean mchat list, and then image URL. So let's come back to our activity, which is message chat activity, and then at the top we can create an instance of our this chats adapter, chats adapter, and let's initialize this with a null, and we need to add an array list in which we will basically retrieve all our these messages, these chats, and we will save all these messages in our array list, and we will send that to our chats adapter as a parameter alongside with image URL for the receiver. So anyways, we can say mchat list chat. So first let's just retrieve and save all these messages to our mchat list. So for that, what we are going to do is here inside our this on data change, we are going to call a function which will be retrieve messages, and we will send some parameter to it. The first one it will have is basically the Firebase user ID. The second one it will have is basically the user ID visit, which is obviously the receiver ID, and the third one it will have is basically the user dot get profile, and basically this user dot get profile is the receiver profile picture. So let's just quickly create this function which is retrieve messages inside our message chat activity. Here you can see function has been created. Let's just move this to the bottom, and then in here let's just give it some proper name. So this one is the sender ID, and user ID visit, as you know that this is basically the receiver ID, and this one is the receiver image. So let's give it name as image URL receiver image URL. So we can say that mchat list equals to array list, and let's create a reference Firebase database dot get instance dot reference dot child. The child will be our chats, since we are going to retrieve all these messages and save it inside our mchat list. So we can say that mchat list, sorry, reference dot add value event listener object and value event listener, and it will have two things. One is the on data change, and then the on cancelled. Inside the on data change, first we have to make sure to clear our mchat list as array list chat class dot clear, and then by using for you can say that snapshot in that in po dot children snapshot dot get value chat class dot java. If chat dot get receiver dot equals to sender id, and chat dot get sender dot equals receiver id, or chat dot get receiver dot equals to receiver id and chat dot get sender dot equals to my id, which means the sender id. Then we can add the chats one by one to our array list. So we can say this dot add chat, and now we have to pass the our this array list, which is now populated with data, I mean which have the all the messages with this chats not contained, and we have added already a condition that this chat, I mean the receiver will be either equals to the sender id or and the sender must be equals to the receiver id, or the second condition is the receiver must be equal to the receiver id or the sender must be equals to the sender id, which means that these messages belongs to, I mean both of these persons, which is the sender and the receiver, and not to anybody else. So now we have to pass all the parameters to our this chats adapter. So in order to pass it, what we are going to do is after this we can just say message, sorry, our chats adapter equals to chat. The first parameter it need is the context, which is in this case the message chat activity. So we can just pass it as this at the message chat activity. And the second parameter it need is the array list, which is now we in which we have already the data which we are receiving. Okay, we are adding the chat one by one, so we can now pass our this mchat list as a second parameter. And then the third parameter it need is basically the image url, which is basically the receiver image. So we have to pass it, so we have it inside this receiver image url variable, so we can say receiver image url. If it shows this red line, then you can just add this non-asserted call here. So yeah, that's it. Now since we have all these things, we have to display our these chats one by one on our recycler view, obviously. So on our message chat activity, if you come here, message chat activity, we have this recycler view. So let's just quickly access this on our message chat activity. So here at the top, what we are going to do is we can say that let init where we have a recycler view chats, which is of type recycler view, and then here in our own create, after this recycler view chats equals to find view by id or dot id dot recycler view chats dot set has fixed size to true, variable linear layout manager equals to linear layout manager, and pass the application context to it, linear layout manager dot set stack from end equals to true, recycler view chats dot layout manager equals to linear layout manager. That's it. Now come down here, and here we can see recycler view chats dot adapter equals to chats adapter. So yeah, that's it. Come here to the chats adapter, and here you can see on our chats adapter, make sure to initialize this Firebase user. Okay, so we are going to say that Firebase user equals to Firebase auth dot get instance dot current user, and make sure to add the non-asserted call here. Now the next thing is we have to set our scene and sent message thing. Okay, also we have add that above, so there is no need to add this here again in our get item view type. Anyways, now the next important thing is to set our sent message and seen message text view feature. So for that, what we are going to do is below this else statement, let's add a comment sent and seen message, so that we can know that here we wrote a code for that. Okay, so if position become equals to the mchat dot size minus 1, which means that it must contain something. Otherwise, if the chat list has no message, which means that if there are 0 messages, then we are going to not display the seen or the seen or sent message text view, which is basically holder dot short text seen dot visibility. We are going to make this invisible. We can say that view dot gone. Otherwise, we will set the things for it here. So here we can say that holder dot text seen dot text equals to seen, and now we have to add a condition for the sender and receiver side. So if this is, let's just copy the condition here quickly, which is chat dot get message to here, and then we can pass that. So if this is chat dot get message, this is a picture image, the image message, then we can move our this text scene little bit below from our image view, the image message. So for that, in order to move it, we have to say that relative layout dot parameters dot layout param holder dot text scene dot layout parameters as layout relative layout dot layout parameters, and then we can say that dot set margins. And what we want to do is basically we want to move it like in the order from the top. We want to move it 0 dp, and from the left, sorry, from the left it will be 0, and from the top what we want to do is to move it to 45 dp, and from the right 10 dp, and from the bottom 0 dp. Now this is, we are talking about this thing, okay, text scene. In case if we have an image message, and in order to set it, we can just say that holder dot text scene dot layout params to lp. So yeah, that's it. And now in case of, now we need to add a condition here before displaying these things, and that is basically if the chat is seen. So for that we need to add a condition, and that condition will be basically if chat dot is seen, and paste the code inside it. Otherwise, if the chat is not seen yet, and by the way, we have not yet said, create a function in which we set the feature, that is, in order when a user see a message, then we will update our variable, boolean type variable for the is seen. We have not yet implemented that feature. So anyways, we are just retrieving it and displaying it here. First we do that, and we will obviously implement the is seen feature and the send feature in the upcoming lectures. But for now, let's just complete this. So if the chat dot is seen, we can just tell that it is sent, and yeah, that's it. Before testing the application, one thing which we want to do is come here to the message item left and message item right. From the left, make sure to copy a circle image view and paste it also here on our message item right in below above our this text view, or you can say below our this inside our this inner relative layout. Okay, just paste that here, you can see, and the visibility for this will be gone, because on the message item right, we do not want to display this circle image view, okay, but we need it here since we are sending a parameter image URL to our chats adapter. And if here on our this layout, if you do not add this circle image view, then there will be some errors in our user interface when we test and run the application on our message chat activity. So it is a good practice. I mean, it is really good if we just add the circle image view here. So because of that, we will not get any error, or you can say anything that will change our user interface in a bad way. So anyways, hope you understand the whole idea. Now let's just quick. And one more thing is basically come down here and from here remove this return super.get item view type. Make sure to return this, I mean remove this. And yeah, now let's just test the application to see if it is working fine or not. Let me just confirm this one more time. Go on. Okay, so let's wait for it. The app is running now successfully, and now let's just come here and see. And here we go. Here you can see it. It is working really nice. Now let me just send messages to LIZDB438. LIZDB438. I'm going to say hello, how are you? And let's say testing app. Here you can see it. Now let's just send any image. Let me send this one. Image is uploading, please wait. And here we go. Here you can see it, and also you can see the text sent. So now what I'm going to do is I'm now going to log out from Peter account, and I'm now going to log in as Lizef438 so that we can see if it is working fine for the sender and receiver for both, I mean. So I'm going to now log in as my own account, which is Lizef438. Here we go. Now come here and now let's go to Peter, and here we go. That is really nice, incredible. Here you can see it. Hello, I am Peter. Hello, how are you? Testing app. So here you can see it, and it is written that is sent.